This does feel like a match where Syndra just had such an easy push.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that if summoner spells aren't changed, it's pretty interesting because we did see the fact that Maple was not running Exhaust, which you might be like, well, why? Exhaust is so powerful in these 1v1s. It's because he's not expecting to get into melee range, right? He's trying to use his range to kind of poke out his opponent, to keep throwing those spells from a longer range than the Urgot can get into. He never wants to actually be in range of exhausting, right? He wants to stay very far back unless he's trying to go for that all-in kill and use the Ignite.
Yeah, that's definitely what Urgot wants to do. He wants to get up close to the Syndra, hopefully dodge some spells somehow, you know, get that reduced damage from the ultimate, because to my knowledge, just going to make sure I'm not messing it up here, it stays on you 2 seconds after the ultimate, right?
Yeah, I do believe so. I mean, I don't know the exact timing, but it's a flat damage reduction.
Yeah.
It is a buff.
With a lingering effect.
Exactly.
So that's kind of the... If we're looking at if it ever gets to level 6, QTV wants to swap before or during the ulti. Ideally, you want to swap mid-ulti animation, so you soak the ulti, and then have a trade right after on the second round of cooldowns from the Syndra, that you also get double reduced damage, one from your passive and one from the R lingering effect. Yeah. But that is if it gets to level 6, because it could be just be an early push Fiesta for Maple.
It certainly could, and the thing is, for QTV, if Syndra gets 6, you have to either ult or exhaust that ultimate, or you're probably just going to take simply way too much damage. And that's how Bengi ended up losing this matchup, getting a full unexhausted ultimate on him, and it's just too much to take. He got chunked so low, and Maple's going to try to stay out of range, going to try to poke him out, hit those Qs, hit those Es, and look for the trades on that.
And definitely initiate the ulti out of exhaust range, just like we were talking about earlier. You do not want to get that ulti exhaust, and for QTV, it's paramount that he does exactly that. Again, just like any 1v1 starts, people hit the first creep just a ton, want to get that down, focus on single creeps, single melees. QTV is kind of already looking to yield the push just a bit. Maple can get those range creep down.
And Maple is starting the W, actually.
Oh, that's...
So he took the W. He wants to just be able to kind of harass this out, try to get some early poke onto QTV, and it does have very good range, so it is interesting to see that he is electing to go for that. QTV, I mean, level 1, you're not really looking to do too much. You are much more hoping for that level 2. You hit your E, and then you start to get really, really good trades.
Yeah, QTV is running 0-18-12. So he's doing a Thunderlord's Urgot with then a Resolve side spec.
And the full mana regen there. So he has all the HP regen talents and the mana regen talents, which I really do like quite a lot. And it may allow him to kind of skip something like a tier that Impact went into, right? You can go for something like a Hex Drinker instead. You can go for more defensive options because you may not need to itemize as heavily into the mana regen. And that can help you to survive an all-in that may come from Maple. And if you can live through that ultimate, if it gets there, obviously, and kind of get up in his face and really start to kind of get that fight close and personal, you could win.
Yeah, definitely so. Maple right now, honestly, wants to get the most out of his spells. That's why he's last hitting purely with auto attacks. Doing a decent job so far, not dropping too much CS, still trailing a few ahead. QTV, that's a good connect here on level 3, obviously. Sidesteps to counter damage, that's a really beautiful trade.
Oh, he's looking...
Notice how he's not getting any minion aggro.
Yep.
He did not weave in an auto attack there. He can walk in between the range creeps and pop Q because Q is a spell, and again, spells do not draw minion aggro here. He also sidestepped the counter W from Maple, so that was, in that microcosm, perfect play by QTV.
Yeah, it was very well done. Maple, though, has the push advantage, as you said he would, and he's going to get that early base and likely pick up a Doran's or something. So he goes double Doran's, he gets the Fairy Charm, so it's all mana regen. He wants to stay out of range of his opponent, spam out these spells, and try to just win it out, probably either wave control or just an all-in from out of range of his opponent. And QTV is so behind in the push, so he is going to be late to back. But it's very interested to see, I'm very interested to see what he's actually going to be able to buy. Like, does he go defensive here straight off the bat, or does he go double Doran's into a longsword? Oh, it's tier anyway. Wow, I'm actually shocked.
Yeah, he just specs really deep into...
And Fairy Charm? I actually think this doesn't really make a lot of sense when you have full mana regen masteries, because I don't think you're actually going to
Oof. I mean, Urgot ooms very quickly. Soft freeze here, before we kind of go back in the build here. We saw a couple of minions denied, but obviously you don't want to let the Urgot arrive on a full push, so you want to strike this balance where you deny 1 or 2 creeps by pushing the wave into position, and then still get the push back.
Yeah, well, QTV, we'll see if it's certainly not going to have any mana problem now. I mean, Fairy Charm, tier,
surprise man.
Mana regen masteries. Look at that damage, though. Even without really any AD, that is a massive amount of damage that he's able to do, and every time you connect.
Beautiful E placement as well. That was at the edge, just like This guy, like, if you miss your E on Urgot, you get counter-traded so hard because you're utterly useless. So this is one spell you need to connect because it sets everything up.
Yeah, the cooldown is pretty long here early on as well, and gonna connect another. And if you're wondering why he's using the shield when he does connect that, it adds the slow. So it does put the slow onto that.
But if we bring Hyder critical, he would not be in range for a second hit after the slow. So technically that was a wasted shield, which got him poked right after. So we're really judging like these micro traits here, but it can always mean the difference in the end.
Yeah, it certainly can. A lot of these matches have come down to very, very small differences, and QTV able to absorb a lot of that damage. And you know, if this does go further, will he pick up the null magic mantle? Will he build more defensively?
I mean, sure.
He has a lot of mana regen already, and he could just kind of turn himself into a semi-tank.
Yeah, and the thing that we kind of overlooked with this heavy kind of reliance on mana is that he can use more spells on the wave now.
That's fair.
And then leverage the push. We see a level 6 on Maple right now. QTV hit him as well. He has control because he has a zone control from E. I like this from Maple.
Yeah, that was really nicely done. He lands a stun, pushes him back, able to take away that health relic, but does get a trade on the way out and procs a thunder. What does it look like?
QTV has to be careful because a lot of Urgot players, they get so sucked in and they're walking in range to do another Q. They forget that E is dot. And dots draw tower aggro. And so you can really like mess yourself up right there. Maple is slowly learning in this matchup the cadence and kind of the timing where QTV wants to use that kind of poison charge. So he's been dodging a lot more lately.
Yeah, he has been doing very well with that. And the CS is very close. It's only going to be one separating these two players as they do base once again here. Maple actually taking a pretty safe base there, but QTV will go back, and now he's building towards the Hex Drinker. Yeah,
complete reset in the middle. I like the Null Magic Mantle. You do not want to get a position where you make a mistake, you know? It's kind of a safety net. Maybe you can survive it with perfect exhaust, with perfect ultimate, but you don't always have the guarantee that you will get into that position.
And Maple as well, picking up the cloth armor, right? That's at least something. The E8 from Urgot, I believe, does shred some armor as well. So there is the armor shred there, and you're not going to have a lot as well already. So just look at the damage. It does get quite high if you can connect a couple of those Prey Seekers. Like that is a Thunderlord proc right there. The double Q plus the E, the first instance of that E counts. So you can proc it pretty easily.
And obviously no need for Warlord to sustain because he's so zone reliant, keeping Maple at bay here. It is slowly turning into a CS match, so we got to keep tracking that. There's a 2 CS lead here in the end if everything plays out well.
Now what do you think? Should QTV have bunched the minions before he based, you know, to try to kind of get that pushing against him to deny a couple of minions? So is that worth the time that he would delay his base? Because Maple had left first. He had the option of doing that. I'm just not sure, you know.
I don't think he knew Maple was basing. That's under the assumption. I think you can work from that under the assumption of perfect information. But you never know if this guy's in the brush waiting to push out anyways. Because if you stack a wave and the guy fast pushes you, then you just got played.
Baited and outsmarted.
Yeah. Good old baited and outsmarted. Good poke here. Basically predictive movement. You know, as you know somebody has to walk up for the final CS, put a Q in his face and he walks straight into it. It's those little things that mid laner's so good at.
And QTV double popping the potions. He's going to be right back to full HP.
Yeah, we're looking at level 9 spike for Maple if he keeps control of this matchup. If this is perfect CS, he is trailing by 1, right? So there's 4 more CS in there, so they're equal. Now he's 1 CS ahead on the side of Maple. QTV falling behind.
Yeah, I did miss the melee.
And it actually doesn't matter if they're equal or not. It matters who kills the last wave first, right? Even if you would equal out the next wave.
And QTV is actually quite a bit behind on experience. I mean, he still didn't get 8 off of that wave. So, you know, we have Maple has been 8 for a couple minions here.
The problem is QTV is never getting the push. So he needs to technically be ahead 5 minions for this playstyle to scale. So I think what we're going to see is on the next wave that meets that's not a cannon wave, QTV might be prepping for an all-in.
Yeah, I think he's going to have to because he's been giving
right here. This might be it on this shield here.
Oh, it's kind of tough now. Maple is just reading like a book. He backs off anytime he comes close, and Maple is playing it out very intelligently, not really giving QTV the opportunity to get in range.
I think the correct play for QTV is to fake the all-in, forcing Maple to spam these Qs on max range and managate him. Put him low enough that he can't actually win the fight anymore.
But with the Lost Chapter, with double Dorans and the Fairy Charm, does he actually do?
Yeah, he has to go for another base because he can't actually commit to a fight anymore. So it's a smart base by Maple. It's forced from QTV not going for the actual all-in, but the threat of the all-in is enough. The wave full resets as well because Maple was pushing. There's 15 creeps remaining.
What do you think about Sork Boots here? Because I mean, there already is some flat MR from the null. So
I think the fact that he like has to face a Hex Ranker makes it good. And the fact that actually mobility is a big component here.
Wants to dodge out the E's.
Dodge out the ease and just get back into lane quicker.
Yeah.
This is just a push. Like right now, because of Boots 2, he's here already. He would probably arrived like a few seconds later. He's setting up for 9 more CS. Like, just like you said as well, dodging the ease. I think Maple set up for victory here.
Yeah, I mean, QTV has missed.
Oh, this is it. He has to go. He's going all in right now. All right, connects E, misses. No, he gets it.
He didn't ult.
He didn't ult.
He needed to ult there.
He could zone though. He could go for zone play. Maple's low. Maple has to walk back in. The next E from Maple is crucial.
Oh, good connection there.
Side steps from QTV. QTV is no boots right here, so he could have probably went for more movement speed here. Juking out the Q for 1. This is good. He can walk up.
Also bought a second Fairy Charm instead of health pots.
Yeah.
And now he's quite low, so I think that was a bit of a silly decision here, but
I think QTV should have forced.
yeah, I agree. I mean, he was in range for the ultimate. It's now one wave away from this being game over.
And he's basically pushing the wave. Maple can let the wave go under turret because QTV can no longer swap under turret because, yeah, he'll be tanking the bloody turret. So
I think Maple has this. There's a lot of minions.
yeah, he's safety under turret. Remember, there is still a Hex Drinker.
Yeah, there's 4 minions. That's all the minions he needs.
Oh, one CS going under turret, but it's so much damage.
Oh, so close! QTV needed to all in earlier. He had the chance.
With that trade in mind, seeing how it ended in the final exchange, QTV should have just popped that ulti earlier.
Yeah, I mean, he used both the summoner spells Maple did, right? And he got 2 tower shots from his tower onto QTV, and he still almost lost.
1 Q.
It was so close. So I think that QTV, when he hit the E there, he had to go for it. He had to commit to it, use the ultimate, pop the summoners, and go for that kill.
The second Maple missed his disengage with his E was the moment where we could go on. Like, because look at it ends. We don't care how he got in the situation. Like, in the end, Maple, he got his barrier burned through. That was not a full duration barrier, and he was still 1 hit away from dying.
Yeah, that was insanely close, and it just came down to that. I mean, QTV did not pull the trigger when he had the chance, and Maple playing to his win conditions, playing it very smart, avoiding that all in as best as he possibly could, and he's going to move on again.
Yeah, and we also learned that
Syndra.
the crowd just wants to see blood. They don't care about the nuances of positioning, cooldown rotations, you know, missed abilities. All they want to see is somebody die.
It's true.
Just really, really sad, man. There's some beauty in League of Legends. They just need to appreciate, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, take him on a match.